Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this drop-in group on behalf of Las Cumbres. We just want to give you a kind of a summary of our organization before we get started, and we'll have some brief introductions. And then we'll launch right into the topic, mindfulness for kids. So Las Cumbres, we are celebrating our 50th year, yay. And we currently provide a wide range of services for families in Santa Fe, Rio Arriba, Taos, and Los Alamos. You can check out our website and the services we offer for each community. And all services are free of charge. Now, thanks to the grant from Los Alamos County, which we are very excited about, we have expanded our services to Los Alamos. So this is a series of drop-in talks that we're doing. Now, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm the clinical supervisor for the behavioral health team and the child infant program. Let's see, how did I get started in this field? Many, many years ago, I was a professional dancer, and in that journey, learned an awful lot about how to regulate myself and be in my body. And after a period of time, I went back to school and began studying to become a therapist. And that's been going on since about 1993. So it's been a long haul. I love my work, mostly because I learn something new every day. And I'm very inspired by working with children. And that's actually my expertise, is infant mental health. So with that, I'd like to introduce Becky Trujillo. If you'd like to say a few things about our Conjunto program and your background, Becky.
Yes, Susanna, my name is Becky Trujillo, and I'm a teacher here in the Conjunto Therapeutic Preschool. And therapeutic meaning that development of those social emotional skills, moreover than our other following along with children's development. I started this journey with Las Cumbres in 1992 when I was first hired here. And a couple of years later, started working in the Conjunto preschool. And I'm a developmental specialist with the Family Infant Toddler program here also, and a service coordinator. So what inspires me to work with children is it's like reading a book when I watch all those kids. It's just like the whole story is coming in front of you as you watch them grow. And so I'm really honored and lucky to be that developmental specialist in the homes of children, and then to have them come into the preschool so I can see them for a few more years. So that excites me to continue reading their story and watching them grow and watching them learn, and all those light bulbs that go off as they're like, aha, I understand this. So last year was very exciting for me to have the behavioral health team in the classroom, even though last year was a different year with Zoom. But the kids had a lot of those aha moments when they were learning about feelings and regulation of their bodies. So.
Thank you, Becky. It's been such a joy working in the preschool. And this year, I'm so excited about us going back in to the actual classroom. It's been quite a time out, if you will, for us, yes. All of us. And I think it's been a wonderful incubation period to also generate new ideas about teaching and how to really use nature to inform us. as well. We will be doing quite a bit of teaching outside this coming year. So anyway, I'd like to just begin the talk with mindfulness. I'd like to talk about that and possibly have a conversation if people would like to join on that. What I want to do is just preface this part of the conversation by saying that we are all mindful. It's not something that you have to do. You don't have to go sit in a cave for 3 years or, you know, get up at the crack of dawn and do your practice. You know, it's happening. It's happening all the time. So it's a matter of kind of keying in to and honing into it a little bit more. You know, we're living in a very fast-paced world, and there's a lot of information, a lot of distractions. So it's almost becoming more and more of a challenge to stay present. So that's what this talk is really about, is helping parents become more present for their children, helping parents to slow down and stop multitasking and really be present in their bodies. And this is no easy thing because we have generations and generations of human beings want to be distracted by things. I don't know what it is. We're a little weird that way. So it's our mind. And that's one of the things that really puzzles me about the word mindfulness. Like, I'm not sure that's the right word to use, because what we're trying to do actually with our kiddos is move them from the mind. Actually, they're very much in their hearts, in just naturally, they're in their bodies, in their hearts. But we're trying to just move the mind down here into the heart. Okay, because actually the neurology in around the heart is very profound, and some people are beginning to research this, and they're finding that there's actually more neurology in the heart area, in the heart center. That is a very major source of our energy in our bodies. So with that, I would like to just pull up. I was just going to share with you some thoughts. The way that Marsha Linehan, she is the actual visionary for dialectical behavioral therapy. She talks about mindfulness, and she's a very interesting woman in and of herself. She's a PhD. She's a professor of psychology and psychiatry for the University of Washington, and she developed dialectical behavioral therapy. That is another thing that we offer for the Los Alamos community, is dialectical behavioral therapy. But it combined Eastern ideas and Western ideas, and she was a Buddhist, a practicing Buddhist. So with many mental health diagnoses, actually, and as she found her way into healing herself, she made a commitment to create skills for people that are really having a hard time. So that was her passion. And she's still with us, quite elderly now, but very amazing. So I'll read to you what she says about what is mindfulness. Okay, and I can send these, we can copy and paste these for you so you can have access to it. So what she says about mindfulness is intentionally living with awareness in the present moment, waking up from automatic, rote behaviors to participate and be present to our lives. Now, there's a lot packed in there. I'm just saying, okay? Rote behaviors, automatic thoughts. You know, our brain is kind of designed that way. It, you know, once it gets what's happening, then the brain doesn't tend to attend, it won't attend to it. You know, it's kind of like, for example, this is a really good example. It's a story of the Buddha, okay? So the Buddha had all of his students, and he decided he was going to do this directive. He asked everybody to go out into the woods, okay, to do mindful walking. This is a practice, doing mindful walking into the woods. And when they all came back, they spent, you know, several minutes out there. They came back, and he looked at him and he said, you know, did you see this plant out there in the woods? To his students. And his students said, no, we didn't see that plant. And he said, okay, go back out there and see if you can find the plant. Okay, so they all go out there and the plant is everywhere. Okay, they were walking in a field of those plants. Okay, but they didn't see it. And I think this is just such a wonderful story, because we do that all the time, peeps. We're doing it constantly. The brain is structured that way to just kind of tune things out, you know? It's sort of like, have you ever noticed your partner, you know? Have you ever noticed your partner, for example? I mean, I've been with my partner for many years, but I mean, sometimes I don't even see him, you know, because we're just used to each other, right? So mindfulness is about really going back to that place of the beginner's mind, okay? The first time you see it, you know, what are you seeing now? What are you seeing now? Okay. And that's, I think, what Marcia is really getting at. Okay. So the other part of it, she says, is without judgment or rejecting the moment. So this is also really a task. Okay. We're constantly judging everything. I just got to tell you, you know, we're making comparisons, we're making discernments, we're always judging things. So the idea of the practice is not to judge, allow it in, just be with, okay? And then don't attach to the moment, okay? She says, without attachment to the moment, move in that dynamic of change all the time. Now it's this, now it's this. So I find that this is just such, has such profound implications, because in many ways, I don't even know if human beings are really inhabiting their bodies, you know, because there's so much in their mind. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do that. Oh my God, I have to get this presentation ready by tomorrow, and I haven't really sat down. What's going to happen to me? You know, worry, worry, worry. Or the opposite piece, regrets, living in the past, you know, depression. Oh my gosh, I should have done it this way. Oh, geez, what am I going to do now? You know, it's like we're always in this kind of a very strange time warp, you know, worrying about the future and regretting the past. I mean, let's face it, folks, you know, something's not right here. So part of why I love to work with kids on mindfulness is because they have so much to teach us about being mindful and being in their bodies. I mean, it's just, it's a beautiful thing to watch, and it's different every day. So, you know, that's the thing when I was talking about the beginner's mind, the beginner's mind is like that. The mind of the child, the wonder of the child. That's where we want to return to. You know, don't wait to be happy, be there, get there, enliven yourself, you know. So I'd like to show the trailer at this. I think that might be a good time to show the trailer. Gabor Maté, who is a psychiatrist, he actually does most of his work in inner city environments in Canada. He is Romanian.
In the US, the richest society in history, fully half of the citizens have a chronic disorder such as high blood pressure or diabetes. Anxiety amongst young people is growing rapidly. Asthma and autoimmune diseases are on the rise, as are addictions.
Depression is rising, youth suicide is rising.
All is not well.
I started heroin at 26. That's what really destroyed me. It just takes the pain away.
It's easy to want to escape reality completely instead of coping with it.
And so the question is, can we be human beings in the midst of civilization? Because what we call civilization demands the denial of human needs.
Please welcome Dr. Gabor Maté.
Every human being has a true, genuine, authentic self. And the trauma is that disconnection from it, and the healing is the reconnection with it.
Why do we get disconnected? Because it's too painful to be ourselves.
So you sort of a bit like in The Matrix when Neo sees everything's made out of numbers. You look at people and you see all their trauma and damage.
That's what I see. So trauma is not the bad things that happen to you, but what happens inside you as a result of what happens to you. What do you want to tell me? What comes up right now?
Shame.
Thank you.
My father. He would spank us and take a belt to us.
Who did you speak to about your pain?
Nobody.
Yeah, that's the trauma. In other words, by the time you're 5 years old, you're completely alone.
People are much more lonely and isolated than they used to be. Literally, it causes inflammation in the body and suppresses the immune system. You've been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Correct.
In my view, people that develop cancer have a hard time expressing healthy anger.
Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, there were two traumatized people fighting to govern a traumatized world.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And these are the people that our society rewards with power. Our schools are full of kids with learning difficulties, mental health issues that are trauma-based, but the average teacher never gets a single lecture on trauma. We need trauma-informed medical care, trauma-informed education. If we had a trauma-informed society, we'd have a society that looks much more compassionate.
You did. You made a difference in my life.
Thank you for being in touch.
I don't feel like I'm a bad person anymore.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I just want people to see the truth. Solutions arise out of people when they confront themselves with the truth, when they're not afraid of the truth.
I think the biggest thing that this whole healing journey has taught me is how to be human.
So a lot of my team were able to see this movie. It's really a stunning movie, quite beautiful. And I'm secretly in love with the guy. Just going to say that out loud. But, you know, the main point is, you know, we're all in a mental health crisis right now. And I don't want to, you know, candy coat it or anything. We have a lot of anxiety, depression, ADHD. We live in this multitasking world with technology and all of these things. It's like we're so distracted and so isolated. So, and of course, our kids, you know, that come to Conjunto have a lot of vulnerabilities. you know. Becky, you might want to say something about that.
Well, I thought it was really interesting that they mentioned the trauma-informed piece, right? Because all conjunto teachers are trauma-informed and aware of all of that. Like you said, there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of ADHD. What's happening? What's happening with the child? What's happening in their body? What's happening with their thought processes? And when they come to school here, they're accepted for who they are. We treat all kids lovingly and supportively, to be in a safe place to have a tantrum, throw that fit, scream or yell, or sit and cuddle, which we haven't been able to do through our Zoom classes. But in a way, we have been able to touch the family and let them know that we're here to do all of that for them and their children. The program that Susana brings into Conjunto and the way that we can support that through all of our activities and literature has really given families a minute. It's okay. It's okay. I have a mom that had the 3-year-old and she had a 2-year-old. And she's like, to the 2-year-old, when he starts to go, she's like, breathe, remember, breathe. Come on, let's do it together. And they would just, the 2-year-old would do that. And it stopped his thought process into the negative and brought him back to the more positive, and also her. It stopped her negativity towards whatever his behavior was going to end up to be, right? So it brings about knowing kids and knowing how to support them and help them through whatever it is that they're all individually going through, has eased that negative behavior, I guess I want to say, in the classroom. And their friends help support them too in the classroom. We teach a lot of kindness and empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the kindness in this curriculum, I'll talk a little bit about it in a moment, but in terms of the infant mental health psychology that we're really looking at using in the classroom, it's, we're all in relationship. So that relationship is the focus, okay? Getting the parent calm. And we have a lot of parents that have financial stress, huge financial stress. There could be a multi-generational traumas going on, including addiction and domestic violence. And there's a lot of angst and worry there. So helping those parents calm down is half of it. It's literally half the deal. And then they can help regulate their child. So it's that co-regulation piece. This fellow, Richard Davison, developed this curriculum called Mindfulness Kindness Curriculum. It is available online. It's a free curriculum, and we have thoroughly enjoyed doing this curriculum. It's just amazing. This man, he's a co-founder of Healthy Minds. He's from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And they did like a research project using this curriculum. And they really focused on 3 pieces, okay? Attention, breath, and caring or kindness. So those 3 pieces are woven into every lesson that we do with the kiddos, okay? So like, for example, the first lesson, we begin with ringing a bell. So it's a bell, and we have kids hold up their hands And as long, and they're listening to the bell. And when they don't hear the bell anymore, they put their hand on their belly and they take 3 deep breaths. Okay. So it's it's amazing how this happened, right, Becky? It's like we rang that bell and everyone they were listening, they were so on it. And then they got that breathing, and it became this ritual for every lesson that we begin that way, right? And the lesson in the beginning was, what's going on the inside of your body? What's happening in there? What's happening on the inside? Do you feel warm? Do you feel jittery? Are you happy? Are you sad? We have, our little feeling charts that we talk to them about. Where are you today? And what does that feel like in your body? And really inviting them to drop further in. Okay. And us too, because I'm learning so much from watching kids, about how disengaged I am from my body, like when you say, one part of the curriculum is like, we're going to do charades. Okay. We're going to do happy. And a kid will get up and just do the happy, right? How often do we do the happy? What is happy for us? It's like, oh, yay, like all those nonverbals we've been trained out of doing. I hate to say this. I'm kind of a radical, I'm sort of renegade about this stuff. I think adults need to learn to play, and they need to learn to experience their bodies more fully. So the curriculum, I've forgotten how many lessons are in the curriculum. Is it 10? I think it's 10. Yeah.
You talked about that feeling chart, and I have one right here because this is the most important thing that the kids have. They have it next to their desk on Zoom all the time, on the refrigerator at home. And the parents report that once they get used to all of these different feelings, when they're upset, they stomp on over to that refrigerator and start pointing to what they're feeling. This is what's happening right here, they say. And so it was, parents really reported good reports, good response about this feeling chart. And we'll take time and everybody gets a turn. And what Susanna said is, yes, we often forget about ourselves. The kids do not ever forget about us. They always say, okay, Teacher Becky, what's your feeling today? And so then, we get into that routine where we also get a turn, because we're not just the teacher, we're in that relationship and part of this group that is so into exploring every feeling that they have. And so along with that then comes a lot of body feelings too, right? Mm-hmm. And we do a lot of role playing around that as they get used to what all those feelings are. Myself and the co-teacher I have in my classroom, Teacher Michelle, and we do a lot of movement and dance with the kids, and then everybody looks at each other to see how they're feeling, because movement is also, as you know, wonderful.
Yeah, it's really enlivening. So one of the other I want to start talking about the curriculum a little bit more. I have all of these notes here that, like, am I going to get to them or not? But one of the things after the inside outside lesson, we go into growing seeds, which is really an incredible process, right? We have them plant their seeds, and they all have to wait. So they get into that idea of waiting, which is really a tough one for the littles. So they're learning how to wait. They're learning how to nurture their seeds and help them grow. So it's watering the seeds, and And all of that is framed as kindness. We're being kind. We're talking to our plants. We're going to sing them a song. We're going to sing songs to our plants. So there's this whole kind of relational field that gets developed that is so exciting, because really part of our suffering is our disconnection to nature, you know, in my view. And I can throw it out there because I'm old, and Becky is too.
We have a garden. We have a garden at school.
Yeah, we have a garden at school. And so it's like, how do we meet that relational field? How can we be more involved in it and watch that seed cap pop off the leaf and open, right? And how can we be with that? Sing a song, relate. So, I mean, we're super excited this year about really folding this mindfulness, kindness curriculum into, you know, the units that the kiddos are studying, like trees or the body, and really moving deeper into those places, you know. So I really like that. And then following that lesson is the growing friendship. Okay, we have this chart where we put flowers, and every time something kind happens in the classroom, we put a little butterfly on the chart, acknowledging kindness, you know. And I think that is such a profound shift, because, you know, we are wired to be kind-hearted. Way deep inside we are. So nurturing that from the beginning, I think, will have a profound effect. And we have a little mantra: everything you see, say, and do is, how does it go? Kind, we do for each other in kindness, you know, something like that. It's a little mantra that we have everybody do most days after we complete the lessons. So, and the other piece, of course, were the readings. Becky, did you want to say something about the readings?
Well, to support that kindness curriculum and the mindfulness, we were lucky enough to have money this year to be handing out some of the books, literacy. So you tie it in with literacy for the week. This one is I Am Peace, and it's a book of mindfulness. And since it features children, the children just gravitated to it wonderfully. We're on Zoom, so we did a lot of YouTube stories. There's lots and lots of literature, but there's one book, and I don't have it in my hand right this minute, but it was just layer upon layer upon layer of hearts. And as you opened it up, there were feelings talked about. And I had one little boy, it was profound. He's like, Teacher Becky, I have to tell you something. Look at that yellow heart. Turn to that page where that yellow heart is. Now you found it. Okay, there it is. They're not listening. Nobody's listening to me either. And so he was just so caught up in that finally he saw somebody else was not being listened to. And then the discussion, of course, came, how can we get people to listen? His mom didn't listen to him. So she was right there too. It was on Zoom. It's quite a little embarrassing, but we just worked through it, and she sat down and she really listened to him. And so it was beautiful. And all the kids were like, yay, you know, he got listened to. He found it in his book, and that supported that curriculum piece that we were doing. So I think that books and all, you know, we read to our kids all the time. And so with a lot of more meaning in some of these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking at the list today. I'm so excited to get back in it. One of the other lessons that we do is the listening walk. So at the end of the year, this year, they went on a listening walk, right? When you guys went out to the lake.
Yes, we were lucky enough to be able to go in person outside, and we have a lake here in Espanola. It's at San Juan Lakes, and our director got us a pass to get in free, and there was all the kids and their families, of course. And they really went on that listening and looking walk because it was all about bugs, bug collecting and what was there. But it was also beautiful and profound in the way that we had never been together in person. And all the kids were on Zoom, and I was hoping that all these lessons were going to come through for them. And oh my gosh, the social emotional connection and the friendship, you saw everybody just ran to each other. They did have their masks on outside even, but they ran to each other and they grabbed each other's hands and they just started running around the lake and on their listening walk and just being so it was so pure and so beautiful. They were just so happy to all be together. And there was so much kindness going on and so much of what usually we see. But yes, they were very mindful of each other's feelings and of being in that zone to actually feel a hand.
Mhm. Yeah, I was really sad not to be there, but I'll do the next one for sure.
Yes.
So let's see, what else can we say about, oh, and we had the peace wands. That was also a really beautiful thing. We made little wands that are peace wands. So when you speak from the heart, you use your wand, right? Isn't that how the intervention goes? Speaking from the heart with the wand. So there was a whole a book that went along with that. And, you know, each one of these activities it's basically layered. The lessons are layered. So we repeat and we repeat, you know, these things so that it really gets in there, you know. And I will be happy to answer your questions in just 1 second. We're going to just wrap it up and then we'll get into the questions, okay? So also becoming animals. This is a really good one. We did a lot of animal sounds. We were so good at identifying animals. It was unbelievable, you know? All these very exotic animals, the armadillo, anteaters, you know, different kinds of birds. So this is another piece that we're really planning to incorporate in our, you know, outdoor time with the kids. Hopefully we can get all of that set up to really move into animal nature, you know, our own animal nature and what we see in nature, you know, the birds and the bugs.
And they like to do a lot of movement. Kids have a hard time sitting still, and most of the teachers do too. So there's things like to do in between with animals like frog hops, gorilla stomps, elephant walks, you know, all these things. And of course, their most favorite activity is roaring like a lion. And they can be as loud as they want, and they were.
That was so good.
And Susanna has the best roar ever.
You want me to demonstrate?
Are you guys ready for a great one?
And I'm telling you something. This is such a powerful intervention. Totally. When you get frustrated, roar, right? Just do it like a lion. And it just works the breath. You know, the breath is a miraculous thing. It is so miraculous. It really regulates the whole body. And really getting kids to understand that, to use their breath is, I mean, if we can do that, we've done so many things. We've done it, really, actually, because the breath is such a tool for all of us, including ourselves. And the other one I really like, and I really got into this the other day. I was on a nature walk myself, and there were a lot of little flowers in the fields, right? These beautiful little flowers. The petals were all open, you know, and their pollen was kind of sticking up like this out of the flower. And I was watching the bees go in to get it, you know, and the bees were ecstatic. I could feel it. They went in there, they went into the, you know, the little, where all of that pollen is in the middle of the flower, and just, and then they were just like in a frenzy, okay, of ecstasy, these guys. And I just thought, wow, this is one we have to teach the kids. We need to have them witness this really profoundly, because it is such joy to see it, right? And then the bee flies up and they're full of little pollen on their legs, and the flower is, you know, all that pollen is stirred around, and all of that helps nature, right? So I'm on board for the bee this year. We have mind jars that we make, glitter jars that we can shake up. Oh, great.
I love this.
Yeah, it's so wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah. You can
And we
shake it up, you
help the
can watch it
kids.
disappear
Yeah.
as you breathe.
Mm-hmm. Gotta breathe. Yeah.
Then if you're still not calm, you can shake it up again and breathe a little more. Till it all calms down. So just a little cheapy bottle.
Yeah, a little plastic
glitter.
bottle. It doesn't take much. So anyway, I just feel really grateful to be with the Conjunto team. I am just so genuinely ecstatic about this year and all the things that we can do together. So I see that you have a question here. So you were asking, what are the signs of toddlers experiencing anxiety, and what can we do to alleviate them from it? Breathing, for sure. Helping them to breathe deeply. Wiggling. Doing mouth noises. I know parents get a little disturbed by that, because, you know, they don't want them spitting or doing weird things, and they've got to be very buttoned up and everything. But all of those things really help a child calm down. But what you're looking for is a lot of kind of agitation in the body. You know, they can't sit still. They're very distracted. They can't really, their focus is limited. That's a sign of anxiety. Stomach, it can somatize too. It can go into the stomach. It can give them a headache. It can give them, and this is for us too, peeps. We all do it, you know, we have it too. So Becky, what do you see about?
Well, I just want to say, when you're looking at toddlers and preschoolers, that no kids have very long focus. We all have a short focus time, and that's okay. The one where the anxiety is a little bit different. Okay. It's more scattered focus, I guess I want to say. But kids do have a focus for things that they love to do. They do not have a long focus for things they do not want to do.
Yeah.
But it's that little squirmy stuff and agitation that you see about doing things that I think shows some anxiety.
Well, I wanted to briefly share before we get off it's Daniel Siegel's refrigerator list, literally, of things you can do with children to help them calm down. And it's actually based on it's based on the idea that the left brain is logical, the right brain is the emotion brain, right? So you're working with two different brains, okay? And these are some ideas that Daniel Siegel came up with. One is to connect and redirect. Because a child, when they're really upset or in a meltdown or whatever, or just feeling anxious, they don't know what's going on often. They're confused, right? They need somebody to organize their feelings, okay? So you want to connect with the right brain first. This is on the first one. So with loving touch, empathy, validating their feelings, describing the feelings, okay? Wow, your body is so jittery and you want to go from one thing to the other. You know, you learn to be like a sportscaster, you know, and then you do this and then you do that, and you're just sort of, and you're being really curious with them, right? And you're organizing them, you're reflecting. So that helps them to calm down, okay? So when a child is way up here and super upset, you can't do much teaching if the brain is up, you know, and dysregulated. You want to calm them down first. So this idea is connect and redirect. So connect with the feelings and then redirect. And it could be later on in the night. You know, when you really had that meltdown, you were so mad because your brother was eating macaroni and cheese and you just couldn't stand it. And you started running around the restaurant. It was, you know, and daddy got upset and then you got upset and then, and you process it with them and ask them, I wonder what would work next time. So teaching moment, right? What would work next time? The other thing is, and these are my two go-tos, name it to tame it. Name those feelings. Name it. Put a container around it, basically, by naming it. Okay. And all of these, there's a number of, I mean, that goes down all the way. Use it or lose it. Exercise the upstairs brain. Give choices, right? You always want to give a child the choice. Okay, so they have some agency in making their decisions. It helps with self-confidence. It helps really build that self-esteem. You know, so you can either do this or you can do that, and that's a skill for a parent to develop. I used to have a mom. She was a genius at coming up with the choices. I was blown away by this woman. You know, well, you could either do this or you could have very specific. It was beautiful to watch. Engage, don't enrage. You know, in high stress situations, appeal to the upstairs brain. Don't get them enraged. It's like, I was with a family yesterday, and the little girl got into the swimming pool after her mom said, don't get in the swimming pool. We don't want your shoes to get wet. Da, 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 da. And she was in the swimming pool. And then the other little girl came in and she got into the swimming pool. It was like, and then the mother, or the grandmother in this case, snapped and say, I told you guys not to do that. Now she's engaging that, you know, that rage, you know, like the kids really wanted to be in the pool and she's engaging it. So what you want to do is step back, pause, observe the situation, and proceed mindfully. You really love water, don't you? You want to get your feet wet. Well, the only thing about that is now you're going to have wet shoes all day, you know? So don't engage the rage, you know, stay calm. So it talks about moving, you know, encourage physical activity, talk about feelings coming and going. We have that in the curriculum. They roll by like clouds. Yeah, so teach kids to explore sensation, images, and feelings. All of this is really good. You can put it on your refrigerator and practice one at a time. You know, it's all in the practice. So anyway, thank you guys for being here. I want to close with a really nice song that we, one of our faves. It's called Breathing In and Breathing Out.
Breathing in.
There it is.
Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water, reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I am water, reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am free. I am free.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Have a good, wonderful day and be in the present moment.